from the 4th chapter, Embracing All, of In Love at Ease. Everyday Spirituality with Pramukh Swami. He led by example and lived a very spiritual life, and I'm hoping we all can learn from him. This part of this chapter is about how he embraced all, beyond religion and race. As a religious and cultural ambassador of Hinduism and India, Swamiji was proud of his Hindu identity. The activities, cultural festivals, and stunning mandirs, houses of worship, were an expression of this pride and awareness of his heritage and identity. But this did not mean that Swamiji was an exclusivist or absolutist. Swamiji saw religion as a means of uniting people and not dividing them, and he was able to do so because he did not see his religion or tradition as the only truth or valid path. For Swamiji, Bhagwan Swaminarayan and his gurus were the pathway to moksha, liberation. For others, their own religion held the keys to liberation and inner peace. He did not impose his theological views or beliefs on others. He did not believe in conversion or proselytization. He taught adherents of other faiths to be better Christians, better Sikhs, better Muslims, etc. He reminded other Hindus to follow the traditions and worship the manifestations of the divine accepted by their forefathers and families. Kenny Desai, a leading entrepreneur in New Jersey, recalls how Swamiji urged him to be a better Vaishnav and not a forced Swaminarayan. Swamiji always said Jai Shri Krishna to Mr. Desai before he said Jai Swaminarayan. These acts of acceptance and respect show the admiration Swamiji had for other faiths and the believers of those faiths. Swamiji looked beyond religious affiliations and identity, and that is why President Kalam, who was a president of India, recalls his first impression of Pramukh Swami as being a great bridge that connected all religions. President Kalam was convinced that Pramukh Swami's approach to religion and religious identity was the Magna Carta of spiritual unity. This president wrote, "Pramukh Swamiji is a great bridge in the vast archipelago of humanity. An archipelago is an island group. Humanity has divided itself into hundreds of islands. These islands are religions. Each island is a beautiful territory, full of flora, fauna, and inhabitants, and yet disconnected from others. Pramukh Swamiji is connecting these different islands by making bridges of love and compassion." When many ask, "How can you mix spirituality and social service?" Pramukh Swamiji asks, "How can you separate the two?" Swamiji's speech from the Millennium World Peace Summit at the United Nations in 2000 eloquently captures the principle of encouraging religions to look beyond themselves and to coexist with others. The following is a particular poignant portion of that speech. At this hour in human history, we religious leaders should not only dream of one religion in the world, but dream of a world which all religions are one, united. Unity in diversity is the lesson of life. Flourishing together is the secret of peace. Let us share this legacy and share a common platform of values for the rest of mankind to stand on. Let us teach our followers that religion does not grow by quantity of numbers, but by the quality of spirituality. Vertical depth is much more important than horizontal depth. Therefore, we should steer our followers away from fanaticism and focus on faith and pure living. Let us guide ourselves and our followers, not just to tolerate, but to respect other religions, not just to exist, but coexist, not just to hail, but to help others. We must not progress at the cost of others, but sacrifice a part of ourselves for the good of others. These words are easy to say, but difficult to live. They require one to commit bold acts of accommodation, acceptance, humility, letting go, and disowning. Swami Shri was able to do so. He not only respected others' faiths, but bowed to them and their gurus. The late Jasbir Singh was born and raised as a Sikh and had an immense affinity for the Guru Granth Sahib and his tradition. Though he was from Bahrain, he spent the last years of his life volunteering in the Mandir construction project in the United Arab Emirates. I remember meeting him in New Delhi and asking him how he managed to be a devout Sikh and still accept Pramukh Swami Maharaj as his guru. Was there room for both? Jasbir Singh smiled and gently placed his hands on my shoulder. Trivedi ji, which is the author's last name, does he not make room for all religions and faith in his mind? How can I not find room for him in my heart? Jasbir Singh went on to tell me that Swami Shri had explicitly told him to retain all of his Sikh customs and practices, including the tying of the turban and carrying of the kirpan, which is a short curved knife carried by Sikhs as a sign of their faith. Swami Shri reminded him to visit the Gurudwara and regularly sing shabads, poetic verses from the Guru Granth Sahib. But it was Swami Shri's lack of a desire to own, possess, or mark Jasbir Singh as his follower that earned him a place in his heart. Jasbir, remember, the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the primary text in Sikhism, but being a Hindu, as Swami Shri exemplified, it had a big part in his spiritual life as well. Jasbir, remember, the Guru Granth Sahib is your first guru. I come after all of the great Sikh gurus on that list. It was the same message that he had given to Frank in the United Kingdom and General Kureta and his son in Kampala, Uganda. In regard to their Christian faith and weekly services at the church, it was the same message he gave to Mamdi Bhai, Badruddin, Lokhandwala, and other Muslims in Botad, Gujarat. Mamdi Bhai, read the Quran, fast during Ramadan, and be a devout, pure, and loving Muslim. It is why Mamdi Bhai always asked Swami Shri for blessings and prasad, food that was first offered to the divine. To break his fast after the Muslim month of fasting, Swami Shri had built bridges through his acceptance and support for others' faith and traditions. While maintaining his own firm faith in Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Swami Shri perfectly lived and imbibed Bhagwan Swaminarayan's Agna, visionary command, by honoring other manifestations of the divine with the same reverence. I remember the first time I spoke in front of him in a public setting. In haste, I had referred to the great Hindu deity and his consort as Shiva and Parvati. Swami Shri stopped me the next morning when I went to serve him warm budla. You spoke well yesterday. I have a suggestion, if you do not mind. I folded my hands and squatted by a sofa. I know you did not mean it, but it is disrespectful to refer to Shivaji as Shiva. We attach honorifics when speaking to our elders, and he was a manifestation of divinity. When referring to him, always call him Sri Shivaji, Shankar Bhagwan, or Mahadevaji. Oh, and never Parvati, always Parvati Mata or Parvati Ji. And let's pause our reading of In Love at Ease there for now. So thank you for listening. And I love that, even though his tradition is not one that worships Shiva or Parvati, his guru explicitly told him to have a reverence for them and ensure proper honorifics when talking about them too. Because it is one divinity, after all, that's responsible for this whole existence. The least we could do is respect that divinity, which is seen in so many ways.